How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Lucid, which had a strong green day on the Friday, being up 14.79%. If you remember what I was saying, if it was able to close above $17, that'd be quite the accomplishment. It did exactly that, closing at $18.01. And then we have billionaire businessman who has a well-respected reputation in the investment world, George Soros, seen loading up the boat on Lucid shares. We'll talk about it further in this video. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch its full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for Lucid. Let's see how it performed on Friday. So it ended up closing at $18.01, being up 14.79%. On the low, it tested $16.25, and then on the high, testing $18.33. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 38.888 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 30.233 million shares. So we had above average volume on the day, and we also saw some strength in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below is at 45.61. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 200-day, the 100-day, the 50-day, and as well as the 21-day EMA. And first and foremost, what a day we saw from Lucid. I was saying if we close the week above $17, that would be quite the accomplishment. We were able to close right at $18.01. When we take a look at support that was on the Friday, it was at $16.25. So we want to see this trend continue, and in order for that to continue, I'd want to see a higher low. I think that wouldn't be too much to ask. And what would that look like? If we could have a higher low around $16.80, this would not be bad whatsoever, or even right at $17. And if we are able to have some price action above the 21-day EMA, which is at $18.61, things could get very interesting for Lucid, because if the market does pick up, then we can look forward to seeing that move going to the 50-day moving average and start getting into that $22 level as well. So definitely keep a very close eye on Lucid going into Monday. If we have some weakness or we have some profit taking that ends up happening, because again, we've been having two strong green days, then I want to see us at least being able to hold support if we break the higher low pattern at $16. If it could hold $16, and let's say it's red on Monday, but we go in as far as having a green day on Tuesday and so forth, Lucid is still in the game to make a move further. But overall, great to see momentum coming into Lucid. Let's see how it performs for this coming week. Let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for Lucid. So as we scroll down on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So we're going to take a look at the recent filings for the 13th. We actually do have quite a bit as well. So we have Caption Management LLC that went with a put with a value of 200 shares, and we also see them again purchasing 929 shares. We have Money Concepts that purchased 1,544 shares, Royal London Asset Management Limited that purchased 148,530 shares. We have Vontabell Holding Limited that purchased 23,288 shares, and Old Mission Capital LLC that purchased 17,891 shares, and Silverback Asset Management LLC that purchased 344,800 shares, and Peak 6 Investment LLC LLC with 33,933 shares. We have the Soros Fund Management LLC with 600,000 shares. And we have Utah Retirement Systems that purchased 54,500 shares. Let's see if we got any more for the 13th. We have Sarissa Consulting LLC that purchased 128,784 shares. And we have Alliance Bernstein LP with calls with a value of 689,900 shares. And we have Warburg Asset Management LLC with 13,000 shares. And we have Verichin Fund Management LLC with a put value of 44,800 shares. So that sums it up for the 13th, so quite a bit. And now when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 50.23%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 7.23 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 500,000, updated 7 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow fee rate is at 21.26%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 12th, it was at 42.78. And then for the close of the 13th, being at 50.23. So that is a significant increase right there. And then when we take a look at the short interest percentage of the float, it is at 21.26%. So this shows us Lucid does have short squeeze potential. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Lucid. So we see on the inflow, it's at 99.40 million. And then on the outflow, it's at 141 million. So we had an outflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large, it was 0.92 million. On the medium, it was 59.30 million. And then on the small, it was 39.18 million. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large, it was 12.76 million. On the medium, it was 80.87 million. And then on the small, it was 47.56 million. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you could see for May the 13th, so the Friday that just passed, we had a negative outflow of 11.84 million. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tend to represent the retail side, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the large, represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had a lot more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 2.33%. So this is a high range for Lucid. We're actually used to seeing it in the 1% range. But considering all the volatility we have in these markets, it's also not surprising whatsoever. We also did see the market pick back up quite a bit on Friday as well. We also saw some strength on the Thursday. So for this coming week, especially going into Monday, I think it's going to be interesting, especially with some of the news that has been coming out. We'll talk about it further in the final thoughts. So let's get into it right now. So for my final thoughts for Lucid, when it comes to the price action, as far as going into Monday, if we have continued strength, I want to see us get to at least a 21-day EMA, which is around $18.61. We saw a high of around $18.33 on the Friday, so not too far off, and we did close at $8.01. As far as for support on the low, we ended up testing $16.25. So far on the chart, we are showing a lot of strength. I would love to see Lucid form a higher low, maybe right at 1680 or above. But again, we're gonna have to wait and see. But if it is able to do that, especially if it could hold up 18, I don't see any reason why whatsoever we shouldn't see Lucid stock trading in the $19 range. And we know $20 is a psychological area. That's where we're gonna really need bulls to step in. And that's when I could see that, you know what, it looks like we'll have a fairly strong turnaround inside of the market. Another thing that we cannot ignore, if we end up consolidating or maybe we have a strong pullback, like I said, you just want to see the stock being able to hold up the mid $16 level. Breaking through this range, that's where we can see Lucid trading back into the 15s and potentially going back down into the 14s. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership, we could see institutions have been loading the boat on shares. And that's why I say if you are a long-term investor, that's something you want to see. It just shows that there's many institutions that are inside of this play looking for a return on their investment. And then when we take a look at the short interest information, Lucid does continue to
to have short squeeze potential. So that is why when the market picks up very quickly or we get a strong catalyst, you see strong moves in price action. And that's why I always tell you guys, look at the charts. It does provide opportunities. And considering the recent run up that we had with the stock testing a 52-week low at around $13.25 and now closing at $18.01 on Friday, you want to make sure you have a solid strategy in place. And before I close this video out, let's talk about George Soros. He is a well-known figure in the investment community. And the reason why it's important to take notice of this fact, because whenever he takes a position in a stock, there tends to be a lot of momentum that follows afterwards. So that's why I say, as far as for Monday, things could get very interesting, especially if the market continues to show some strength. We have been in a bear market, so we can't ignore that fact. The market has been selling off for like 6 weeks now. So as far as the bulls wanting to step in, this is going to be a very interesting week, because if they can't keep up with the buying and we have some more selling pressure, we're going to have another red week. And I want to make sure you guys are mentally prepared for that. That's why I say, if you're an investor, take advantage of those dips. And congratulations to those who were able to load up on some Lucid shares when it was trading in the $13 range, because if you were able to do that, you were definitely sitting pretty right now. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see how the stock performs going into Monday. We'll talk soon.